but I know she loves yellow. I don't really know.
Lori, I appreciate you calling, but right now I have a driver standing here waiting for these flowers. He needs to get these to another customer. So would you mind, could I call you back? Or maybe if you could call back and just give me 5 minutes, I would be able to take your order for you.
Sure. You know what? I'll call you. Don't call me. I'll call you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Vonda, you did not have me at hello.
Yes. Lori, this is what happens often, not that extreme in a flower shop, but it is. I mean, we look at, like, we are designing and we know we have to answer the phone and we have to wait on the customers. And we tend to think this is the most important thing. I'm designing, I need to get this out, the driver's waiting. But the truth is, if we treat our customers like that, they're not coming back. Did I make you feel important?
Right. So, and I know people are watching going, I would never do that. That was, like you said, that was a bit of an exaggeration. However, I can tell you from personal experience from the customer side, I have called shops that have been first thing out of their mouth saying, we are really busy. And so even though an employee thinks, oh, I just got to give them a heads up, we're really busy right now, that makes me feel like I'm not valued. Right. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to hang up. So we know that was cheesy. We know it was something, but we're trying to get our point across, hence the name of this webinar. You had me at hello. In first impressions are everything. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, first impressions truly are everything. So let's get started here.
Right.
So I think the first point says everything about what just happened about the skit. Be interruptible. You have to be able to take the time and say, okay, this is more important. Right now, this person chose to call me,
right,
your flower shop. And if I can't be interruptible to let that person have my undivided attention, we're losing customers. We're really losing customers.
Right. Especially if it's a new customer, right? If it's a brand new customer and you treat them that way, they are likely going to not only call another shop, they might even tell the other shop about the experience they just had with you. Hence a negative, you're going to start getting the negative reputation. So being interruptible is key in customer service. I get that a lot of you are doing 5 different things at once. I understand that. So maybe you just kind of have a change in your shop, saying, even just for the holidays, when you know you're going to be busy, have specific stations for people. Like if you're really good at answering the phone, you are the one that's going to be staying on the phone instead of, designing or whatever.
And a lot of times you can do that in rotations. So a designer has 1 hour that they are on the phone, that's their main responsibility. So that they are interruptible. Maybe they're doing something, but they know that their first rule is, I got to get this phone.
Right. So everything we're going to talk about today comes from really these 2 truths. Number 1, be interruptible. And number 2, model from the top down. And what I mean by that is you owners and managers, this is for you. If you want your employees to act a certain way, then you have to do it too. They are looking at you.
And like we say, these are the hard truths on customer service.
Exactly.
So this season and all season long, it's important to know who you're talking to, not just their name, address, and phone number or their NAP, but think about it. Do you talk to everyone the same? And oftentimes when a customer calls, we just start treating them just one like the other. But you don't talk to your delivery driver and your designer the same. Even more extreme, do you talk the same to your banker as you do to your beautician?
Right.
I'm going to say probably not.
Right. So there's a study out there that I actually learned when I went through the Mark Murphy leadership training, and he talks about customer relationships only develop in retail spaces that people go to or call voluntarily. We're going to be talking a lot about the importance of that relationship today. But understand, if you're working at a tag agency, no, you don't need to develop a relationship with that person. If I'm standing in line for an hour to get my driver's license renewed, I don't need to be friends with you, and I don't need you to try to be friends with me. So what we're talking about today in general, right? We're just a generality, are customer personality types that you need to be aware of. And you'll likely be able to think of certain customers when we talk about the certain type. But again, this is for a flower shop whose your goal is to develop a relationship with that customer. So
well, it's to get a repeat customer, and knowing your customer, knowing who you're talking to, knowing how to deal with them is really key. So that's why we really want to introduce these 4 different types of customers. And we've assigned a flower to each of these. Lori,
you assigned, this is Vonda's thing. So I went through this, again, this training, and we talked about 4 different personality types. I understand there's always going to be more, but these are the 4 different personality types. But when we were going through this and trying to change it up for this webinar, Vonda came up with this great idea. And you guys, everyone here, it will make sense.
Yeah, I think we see. So the first, go ahead, Lori.
So the first is the data scientist, or data, depending on what part of the world you're from. And you assigned them a gardenia, which I didn't know much about, but you have got some things to say. So a data scientist is just the facts. If you think about that show back in the 70s, what was the name of it? I told you it was the detective guy that would say, just the facts, ma'am. Dragnet. That's what I'm trying to remember. It's a little before my time, but I do remember it. So think of just the facts, ma'am. They're going to call and they want to know exactly what's in the arrangement, what colors you're going to be putting on. And they don't need to be your friend. They don't need you to have like a relationship. But these people are going to be the people when they call you. A telltale sign is they're going to say like, hi, my name's Lori. I need to order flowers for my mom. And I don't want to spend any more than $65. So they're going to be right about, and I have a Groupon. So I got a Groupon and I want to use it and make sure you get it on my tab. So it's those kind of people, and I'm sure everyone has talked to someone that is a data scientist.
Exactly. And we chose gardenia because they're appreciated sometimes from the distance because they bruise easily, right? Because it's like, bruise that.
Right.
And also you have to watch their attitudes. They need to watch the attitude and try to keep that at bay. It's like, they're a little difficult to please. But also with the data scientists, if you do exactly what they want, they're going to be super happy too.
Right.
Like they're not a tough customer. They can be a really good customer, but that's the way they like treated. How many roses are in that arrangement? Is it a light pink or a dark pink? Is it all the way around or is it one-sided? I mean, they might know all the right questions to ask. And then, like she said, they have a budget they're starting.
Right. And this is one we're going to talk later about the importance of confirming the order, clarifying the order. For these people, especially, confirming their order, every detail, repeating it back to them is key in them having a positive experience. So it's very important that they know they've been heard.
All right, so that's for gardenia. Then we go to the rose or the closers. These people just want the bottom line. They don't want to go through all of the steps. You want to make sure that they get it ordered, it goes to the right person, and they want to get it done and off the phone. Now, this person is someone who, if you have a really good customer who trusts you already, these are relationships that you've already established. Many times this would be like, in my day when I was at the shop, and this was my David Peterson. He would call me at Valentine's Day, and David would say, I need flowers for Edie for Valentine's Day. And I go, okay, you want me to just come up with something? Yep, whatever you want. And I say, what about the girls? What about Ellen and Christiana? Yes, go ahead. And I said, and Travis, just a box of candy. Yep, that's it. And they don't want the step-by-step. They want nothing else. Put whatever you want on the phone. So, or whatever you want on the card. So those are the kind of things that those are a closer. Most of your closers will be ordering online because they can see what they want. They can make a decision, they can click, and they can buy. Right, Lori?
Right. And an interesting thing about a closer, if they do leave a review, they are the type that would click like 5 stars, but not write anything. They're not going to go into detail, which, hey, I'll take it, right? 5 stars is great, but they're not going to go into too much detail.
Right. And so we chose Rose on this because a Rose is a strong self-defender, right? It has guard petals and thorns for protection. So they don't want to be detailed. And if you handle them too roughly, they bruise. And these people or flowers demand the utmost respect and care. So I think that's why we chose the rose for the close. And it kind of rhymes too.
Rose for the close, right. Okay, so these are directors. And probably the majority of you listening onto this webinar, including Miss Vonda Lefevre, is a director. She is our flower click hydrangea. These people know their flowers. They might not all be florists, but they are people that have a love and a passion for flowers. One of my best friends, her name is Denise. She knows more about flowers than anyone I know, and she's nowhere near a florist. But when she orders flowers, she is very specific about not only the color, but the style, even down to what foliage she likes in there. These people want to be in charge of the conversation and the order from the beginning to the end. Now, let me be clear. Directors aren't mean, even though it sounds like they're just direct. So there's a difference. You could have some mean ones, but directors are just very clear and know exactly what they want. Here's what I'm going to say. If I was working at a flower shop, because I am not a designer and I'm, don't know a lot about flowers, if I received a call from a Vonda ordering things and she started speaking this language, meaning the language of flowers that I didn't know, I would have no problem saying, you know what, I want to make sure we have everything you were talking about. So let me get the designer, or let me get whoever if you don't designer, maybe the owner or whoever who has more knowledge than you to come to the phone. This is going to do a couple things. Number one, it's going to relieve you from saying anything that might incriminate you, and the other thing it's going to do, it makes the customer, the person calling, is going to go, oh, okay, they're going to get the expert. Nice. I'm going to talk shop with them. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to say, I want to make sure we get this right. Let me check with the designer and have her come talk to you. Because it's not what the negative would be is if you didn't and you faked your way through the call and you hung up and take that order to the designer and she's like, what? I can't do this. We don't have these things. Right, Vonda?
Right. No, it's exactly right. Have them talk to somebody who knows the most. And many of you who are on this call will probably already know. But if you don't, pass it off to somebody who does. And I chose hydrangea for this, not just because I like hydrangea, but because they're really versatile. They big blooms. They offer strength and support to the little fragile flowers. So they give support to one another. And I think that's a lot what the directors do. They are strong, but you don't want to leave them alone too long because they could wilt quickly. So again, don't keep them on the phone long, get the right person to them and help them make that decision based on their great knowledge and you knowing what you actually have in the store that you can supply for them.
Right. Another one, if we're talking about reviews, which is a huge part of this industry, these people, if you do it right and you get them connected and they feel like the way this is quality, these people knocked it out of the park, they are going to let other people know. Mm-hmm. They will be very verbal.
And they'll be very direct on what it was that you did.
Right, right.
Right. So then this one is the storyteller, which would be my friend Lori, who's on the call. They want to tell you that whole story about who they're ordering for, and you're supposed to listen to open and be open to listening to that story, because you're going to learn a lot when you listen to what she has to say. Mm-hmm. Now, just take more time with this customer. If I wasn't totally preoccupied, this is the person that I really could have had a nice headset on and be listening as I finished my arrangement, because as long as I'm interacting and I'm writing down notes, be sure to have a note card or a pad of paper next to you to take notes when you're talking to the storyteller, because as you'll see in a little while, you're going to want to relay some of that information back to them to make it really a good connection or personalized on that. So, and like you said, Lori, these are the people who you want to be their friend.
You do want to be their friend. And I kid you not, if you become their friend and do a good job, these people will leave you a 2-paragraph long Google review telling them how awesome they will name you by name. They will name the dog that is walking around your store. They will do it all. So taking a little bit of extra time with these people really is key. And you know, I know we weren't going to, I just was thinking about this. I've had some of our Flower Click members ask me about the storyteller, because they get a lot of storytellers. Like, but how do you get them off the phone without being rude? Because you can hurt their feelings. You know, we tend to get our feelings hurt if we don't think anyone wants to talk to us. So a little tip for that is when you're going on 10 minutes and you really do have to get off, instead of saying, you know what, we're really busy, we got to go, say, you know what, I could listen to you all day long, but I know I'm taking up too much of your time. So I'm going to let you go and we're going to get that order out. So turn it around on you so they don't feel like, oh, I took too much of their time. Now they don't like me. All those things.
Feelings hurt. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So we chose sunflower on that because sunflowers are radiant. They have a warm disposition. People who are storytellers are usually pretty warm and friendly, and they're vibrant, and they like to get your attention, and they turn towards the light. So that was the perfect combination for the storyteller being a sunflower. So here we have them again, the data scientist being the gardenia, the closer being a rose, the director as our hydrangea, and the storyteller. So what we want you to do is think about that as you're working towards the week. You know, it takes practice, but all of it can be fun. Subconsciously, we know that there's different types, and you guys deal with these every single day.
Right. I bet everyone on this call, during some point of talking through these 4 personality types, one customer has popped in your head of, oh my gosh, that guy or that girl was a gardenia, or that, you know. So Bondo, when we were doing this, we thought it would be fun for shops to kind of do their own little research, right? And write these down in columns and do it for a week, I don't know, and have a challenge to see how many of which one you get. Who is the most type of personality for all of your customers? I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, because you could be, and it would be fun interaction for you. Take your staff and go, oh, I'm so glad we had those specials printed out because I knew what was in each arrangement for that data scientist or my gardenia. Oh, that was an easy rose, you know, or yeah, so many questions. Boy, that was definitely a hydrangea.
Right.
You know, or I couldn't get that sunflower off the phone. Those are the kind of things. Just, you know, make it fun. I think that's is sometimes we get so stressed and busy. Try to, like Lori said, come up with 4 columns, put the type down, the type of rose at the top, rose, gardenia, sunflower, and hydrangea, and identify them.
If it's a sunflower, you could literally at the end of the call tell them, well, you know what, you're just a sunflower. It would just make their day.
You are just a sunny sunflower. Yeah, because they'll know it's a good thing, right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter what type of customer they are, what kind of personality they are. There are 5 essential steps you need to take for each one of those personalities. And these are the 5 that we'll be going through. You need to connect. Of course, you had me at hello. You need to listen, personalize, affirm, and then wrap it up. So let's go through them one at a time, Lori.
Okay. So the had me at hello or connect, that is your first impression. We've heard millions of times, first impressions are everything, especially now because with COVID, your first impression is either on the phone or like Fonda with a mask. So it's really hard to make a connection when you can't see someone's whole face. So this is what we're going to talk about today. The number one thing you have to focus on is your tone of voice. And it is amazing how if you change the influx of your voice, if you're not used to it, people can literally see over the phone that you're smiling. So Vonda, if I say, hey, I'd like to order some flowers today, do you have any specials?
And I say, yeah, we have some specials. Or I say, yes, we have some specials. Would you like to hear about them? Can I share those with you? It's the inflection that we have in our voice. But also with our mask, we have to be sure that we enunciate, because it's very difficult, even when the customer is in the store, for them to understand clearly what we're saying. And also, if we have an inflections in our voice and it's a warm, friendly feeling that they're getting from what we're saying, it's going to make a lot of difference. Now, if you are answering the phone, my suggestion is try to find a place that you can rotate your employees off and on that can be away from others so they do not have to have a mask to answer the phone. Really hard for people to understand often when they have that muffled voice through a mask.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So when someone does call, the first thing you're going to do is be mindful of your tone. You're going to welcome them and be grateful they call. But you're going to ask them, what is your name? Have you shopped here before? What can we do to help you? All of these kind of things. And if they have, or if they haven't, you need to celebrate with them. And I know that sounds cheesy, but if you go through Chick-fil-A drive-through, okay, nowadays, at least at mine, they were like, we are so happy to have you. You know what? I know they're saying that to all 155 cars that go through, but for that little moment, it makes me happy. It makes me feel special.
Right.
And I assume it makes everybody feel special because they're genuinely at the very moment happy to have the conversation with me. And that's what you need to do, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone.
And over the phone, this connection point is when you get their name, and you actually are looking up something in the computer if they have an appointment. So, or if they have an account. So in a case that, hey, this is Mark Wilson. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Mark Wilson. And you've ordered with us before, because I can see that we've sent flowers to Lori. Is that who we're sending today, or is there some other special person today? And then I'm starting to ask, if I have notes already in my point of sale system about likes and dislikes, I'm going to confirm those, because you never know. Lori sometimes switches on me. So Lori, I'd say, Mark, is pink still Lori's favorite color? Has she changed that a bit? Does 2 things. One, it makes Mark know that I am paying attention. I have his information there, and I really want to make sure that I do the best job I can for him. So it's giving you that connection. It's giving you that really good bond, and securing the trust that he has with you now. And like Lori said, if it's a new customer, celebrate that. We are so glad you called us. I mean, they could have called anywhere, and they're calling you.
Right. I want to go back to what you just said, because the phrase you had, or the question you gave them, was an open-ended question. And it's so important that we always extend open-ended questions, because it helps them be able to elaborate as much as they want. Remember, we're trying to get as much information out of this person about what they need as possible, so that we can create the best design for them. Two questions that should always, or two pieces of criteria you should filter your questions through. And I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget. Number one, does the question that you're asking your customer help them feel understood? So like Vonda was saying, the question that she asked them shows them, okay, they want to know what I need. And number two, are your questions open-ended so that the customer can elaborate on their need? So those two little questions that you keep in your head will help you when it comes time to having those conversations.
Absolutely. And so that puts us to our next one, and that is listening. Yeah, I know there's a lot of eye rolling going on right here, because you're like, I don't have time to listen. And sometimes they go on and on, like the storyteller or whoever it may be. But you really just have to listen. Sometimes they're really fast. They're coming through. Maybe it is that closer, but you're listening and you're taking a few notes so that you can repeat that back to them. Focus on the relationship. Like Lori said, listen and ask good questions, because the goal is to have enough information to repeat that back to the person. And then you're going to suggest the perfect solution.
Right. So as you're listening, your brain should be filtering through, what are some key things they're saying that I know are in our cooler, that I know maybe our designers have already made. If the person is talking about pink, if let's go back to Mark Wilson, who Vonda is talking about, who would be ordering flowers for me because I'm his wife. He knows my favorite color is pink, anything pink. I love pink. And if he's filtering out that information, you should be thinking in your head, oh my gosh, we just made the most beautiful thing. We need to get it out of here, right? It's already made. We want to sell it. I'm not, to Mark, you have made a custom arrangement for me. He doesn't know that it's already in the cooler, and it is custom, right? Because you guys made it. But listen for little buzzwords that can kind of make you go, oh, I know what we can do to help them.
Right. And some of this comes from what you've talked to the rest of the staff from on for first thing in the morning. You want to kind of do a review. It's like the communication. Okay, what do we have in the cooler? What is still coming in? What needs to go out the door? All that communication then is triggering, when you're listening, what it is that you can suggest for that perfect solution.
Right. You know, one of my favorite questions for a shop to ask that makes a customer feel like, wow, they are really customized. I'm going to get something amazing. If you ask them towards the end, okay, I think I know what he or she might want, what we might like, but before I tell you what I have in mind, is there anything else, any other detail you want to share with me? Mm-hmm. Because it almost makes you think, ooh, there's going to be a surprise at the end. They're already concocting something. That is way above par customer service.
Yeah, for sure. I love that, Lori. That is exactly right, because it makes them think like, oh, is there anything?
Yep.
So the personalization. Now I've listened to everything. I know what I'm going to suggest, because my mind was clicking right as they were going. And I would say, oh, it was for a mother, and purple. She liked purples and pinks. And so I know in our lineup for the holidays, I have something in a Nordic collection. So my suggestion is kind of going to that. I'm like, okay, click, click, click. And so what's important is that you have something printed ready for your sales staff to be able to work off, so that they can see what you have going. Excuse me. So then my mind is going, like Lori said, ask a question. Do I want something more contemporary, something traditional? Am I looking for a centerpiece? those are the questions. Go ahead, Lori, a minute.
Right. Well, so those are all the questions you're going to ask. And again, you can get all this information toward that begin when you're listening, and then you're coming back with real good questions. You're wanting to find out, are they contemporary? Are they traditional? Are they tall? Do you want this, do they like a tall base? Do they like something more wide and spread out? Any of those things.
Right. And then, of course, if they ask for something in a keepsake container, you're going to go right to the Teleflor keepsakes because they have so many gorgeous ones for the holidays. So you're, again, going to listen. It wasn't somebody who's traditional and nostalgic, because you might go to something in the keepsake sleigh if there's more this nostalgic, or you might ask them, is she have the Kincaid collectibles? Because then, boom, you got it right there. So if they want something in a keepsake, you've got them covered with the beautiful Teleflor containers.
Right.
But let's go back to talking about the highlights, but not the specifics in the arrangement. We know this is going to be more important than ever during this holiday season. You're not going to say to them, I have 5 roses, 3 alstroemeria, eucalyptus, and evergreen in this design. No, be a little bit more specific, more general. It's a beautiful all-around design featuring roses and beautiful accent flowers and foliage, including some evergreen. So that's the type of thing that's going to bring your customer in. And the other thing we have to realize is that unless they're a director, they probably are not going to know the specific flowers anyway. And you telling them what's in that arrangement might make them feel like a little intimidated.
Right.
So once you have them like, okay, this is kind of what I'm thinking. So sell the benefits first. They're like, oh yeah, my gosh, that sounds fantastic. And then you're going to say, then the price, right? Then you're going to go, okay, it's available between $75 and $125, but the $115 size is our most popular right now. Should we set that one up for delivery for you?
Right. Perfect.
And then
the fourth thing you're going to do is affirm your customer. Now, again, you're like, what does this even mean? And who has time for affirmation? Well, let me say, just take a minute, right? Take a quick minute and tell them, once you guys land on design, let them know, oh my gosh, this is going to be perfect. She's going to love it, or he's going to love it, or whoever is going to love this. Then you're going to take it a step further. You're going to say something like, you're going to pull up in your memory something similar that you have sold before. So now we are looking at this beautiful centerpiece that I would imagine someone would purchase for Thanksgiving. So I would say something like, oh, I love this. This is one of the favorite centerpieces that our designer likes to make. She made 3 of them last week. And one of them we ended up combining with some beautiful Thanksgiving flower or napkins and a cute little placeholder for everything. We have them in store. I could even send you a picture. They're actually on our Facebook page because it was such a cute little trio. Is that something you would like to have? The important thing here is share the testimony of somebody else that has already done it, because this person like, oh, well, that sounds really cool. Other people are doing it. I want to be like other people. And that's how you're going to be able to sell more of the add-ons or extra things or whatever you have in your shop, by affirming the order and then sharing that other people have ordered it too. And here's what they did with it that's a little bit different. They kind of took it above and beyond. Like maybe they ordered this to take, and because they also needed a hostess gift. So you combined it all together. Or maybe you combined it with a bottle of wine in the napkins. Whatever it is, make sure they know you have other things that you can combine with this.
Yeah, we've had a dear friend of both of ours, Charlene, would always say, we have the centerpiece, so let's go ahead and send the napkins and a couple extras, special things along with it. So it is a beautiful package and she'll just be blown away when she gets it.
Yep.
So it's like, adding on those things, but instead of saying, would you like to have this? Would you like to have that?
No. Right. Or what other people have done.
Yes.
That's the key there.
And then, of course, wrap it up. And that's recapping the order in their own words. Remember, you're going to personalize it. going to talk about their selection, personalize it, and you're going to make sure at the end, you're going to say, in the total, including tax and delivery, is this amount.
Yeah. I just want to throw out another fun little fact, because I read a study, again, this was in the restaurant industry, and they did a study where servers would repeat the order exactly back to the customers, and then the next set of customers, they wouldn't, and then the next. So they did that. The people that they repeated the order back to, now this is a sit down restaurant. This wasn't like a Panera or something like that. It was a sit down restaurant. The customers where they repeated back exactly word for word what these people, their tips were increased by 70%. And that came again from Mark Murphy's leadership training. I am not making it up, because I'm like, 70%, that's a lot. And I know y'all don't get tips, but think about happy customers.
Well, people are getting tips now more than
they are. You're right. We have some that have it on. Yeah.
But I think about that, Lori, and I would say for sure that's true. And I probably give a tip, even larger tip. I haven't been out for a while, but right. When they repeat it back without looking at anything, you're like, how?
Well, yeah. I do the same, just because I'm really impressed that they don't have to write anything down.
But we can do that. And the other studies show that the people who repeat it back are more satisfied with what they're getting. And I think that number was like 87%.
Yeah. Yes.
And they will not leave you a negative review, because you actually repeated back to them. They agreed with what was being sent to them. So it was one of those things that was like, okay, yes, that is exactly what I want. And I know that the total with the tax and delivery is this, so I have no surprises. I know I was paying. And she described that to me.
Yeah, very good point.
So let's just look at the 5 steps. And as we know, the most important really is that connection point and the wrapping it up, because and everything in between, of course, is important, but you got to connect at the beginning. You got to let them know that you care, that this is really important to you, because then they're going to come back. And that's our goal, is to have that reoccurring customer.
Right. And then number 2, you already went through. So so the next slide, and just to go back to these, make it fun in your shop. Holidays can be stressful too. Talking on the phone, taking orders, all of that can really be stressful. So maybe change your mindset a little bit, even for between now and Christmas, and make it a goal to try to identify that person on the other end of the phone and see if you can figure out what their love language is, how you can speak into it. I think you'll be surprised. I also think doing these types of things and practicing them and getting the positive feedback that I know you're going to get, it's going to give you more confidence too.
And we know that so much of sales is confidence. You have to be able to be confident in what your order or you're offering to that customer. Because if you're confident, then they're going to be confident. Because if I'm saying to you, well, yeah, that's really pretty with the sunflowers and the roses, I'm like, oh, wow, do I really want that one?
Right. Well, I think of a scenario where my dad ordered flowers for my mom, and it was local. This was years ago. And I can't even remember what the flowers were, but he called a flower shop that I knew. And she was like, okay, Mr. Brock, I'm going to do this and this and this. She probably talked too much technical jargon with him, but they got him. And my mom, I guess she didn't really love them because she just didn't know what they were. And my dad kept going, well, the lady said they were premium. They were the best. So she was like, oh. And so my mom just told her she didn't know. But I think that's how most of us react. It wasn't that they were ugly. They just weren't something she wanted. Yet they hung in there and they thought they were fancy because the expert told them they were. And they were, but anyway.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's that picture that you're painting for them. It's what you're leaving them with in that wrap up.
Right.
That's where it's going to make a big difference in the satisfaction of your customers.
Yep. All right. I think we have that part. I hope we made sense. Lottie, did we make sense?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I am blown away. I've been writing a ton of notes, but what I did want to say is, you know, your very first thing when you said be interruptible, not only is that perfect for, you know, a work situation, but literally if you just write it out, you could apply that to pretty much every area of your life. So
right. You're right.
That's going to be my saying for the entire week. That's going to be
good.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think that's a really good word for the 2021. You know,
right.
we always come up with a word, and I'm like,
yep.
I think being interruptible may be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
yep.
You know how
you, perspective. So
yeah,
I want
to. Sorry, we have a question as well. So do you ladies have time for that? So Melanie Gomez has asked, can one customer be a mix of the different types of customers?
Oh yes, Melanie. It depends on the day. Like Vonda said, I'm a storyteller. I can be a closer depending on my mood. If I'm in a hurry or if I am I think that's a really good question. But yes, don't you think, Vonda?
I do. And even in the sense, I think what she's asking is both, can you be two? And Lori sometimes is the storyteller at the beginning, but towards the middle, she's like, okay, all right, fine, I'm done.
Wrap it up.
So she is a storyteller, but she's the closer. So yes, exactly.
Yep.
That's a really good point. I love that.
Yeah. You know, I have to say, just from personal experience, I loved how you did not talk about the price right away. You know, to me as a customer, that really speaks about, you know, the art of design and the beauty of the flowers. So it's not just transactional. It's more of an art and a kind of a whole experience from a customer's point of view. So
right.
I really appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call have appreciated that too. Do you guys have? I think we have maybe another question on here. I know.
Yeah, I was just going to speak into that. I think when you bring it to when you ask somebody how much they want to spend or what your budget is, it takes it away exactly, Lottie, from the beauty of it, but also it makes it just like it's all about money instead of the emotion that you're trying to sell somebody. You're selling emotion, and you want them to connect with that beautiful design that you're describing to them.
Right.
And then say, oh, wow, that sounds like that would be beautiful. Then give them, these are the range of prices that would work.
Right. And I love the range of prices too. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but so effective, you know?
Yeah. And I just wanted to hear, this slide just shows our podcast that many of you are subscribers, if not that. But there was a great interview with Bill Lefevre, who's the owner of the Bill Doran Company, about the supply chain challenges. And I know all of you are feeling those, hearing about them. So it's really important that you know and are aware. Lottie even gave me the information from Flower Buyer. You know, they're really suggesting right now to lock in your Valentine's Day prices, make your list, make your budget, and get that to them or get that in there so that you are ready for Valentine's Day. They are actually planning on a lot of the varieties that everyday staple varieties not being available for Valentine's Day. A lot of it has to do with the shipping. And so you can listen to the podcast that gives you a lot of information on that, but lock in your delivery option. Those of you who use Flower Buyer, you know the routine, but the warning is get it done now for Valentine's Day and Christmas too, but even into Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Anything else on that, Lottie?
No, we do have a bunch of questions just came in. So if we have time, so I'll throw the first one out. Tim Farrell, your co-ed spec, he is asking, is there a certain percentage of a sale that is most successful in suggesting add-on sales?
Lori, I don't think so. You mean if they spend $100, are they going to spend another 20 or $30 for an add-on. We probably, and Tim, you probably know this, and others on the line, the person who wants to spend $50 and they already told you, which is that gardenia, you're not going to be able to sell them that add-on, whether they spent $50 or $100, because they have a budget and they're going to stick to that.
Right.
I don't think there's any other price point that people are like, no. It's really the personality and the way you're offering it to them.
Right.
Great question.
Yeah, great question. Another question from Irene Seaman. She said she gets people asking, what do you have in the cooler? And because they've got so much in the cooler, it's impossible to tell them about all the things they have in the cooler. So what do you recommend to kind of abbreviate that?
Well, my choice would be to say, we have so many beautiful things in the cooler. Tell me a little bit about your mom who we're sending these to, so I can make that perfect selection for perfect suggestion for you. So again, get it back to listening. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of stuff in the cooler, but tell me about who it's going to.
Right. I would even say, just what color are you looking for? What's your favorite color? And if you're like, well, I love pastels. All right. And then go only focus on your pastels. What you have, because remember, Vonda and I did a podcast a while back about decision fatigue. Too many choices. Yeah. The person's mind is going to explode. So yes, you have a bunch of stuff in the cooler, but only give them 3 options. More than that is going to be just way too much. Yeah.
Totally. We have a great question here from Jeanette, and this is really important. What if you have a hydrangea customer that knows her flowers but doesn't know prices? How do you get them to increase their spending without making it sound like you're upcharging them? Because obviously they're calling from areas of the country that sell flowers on a street market or in a grocery store for way under what you would be charging.
A lot of times,
great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. I deal with that on saying, we carry only the most premium flowers here, and the part of the country we are in, we oftentimes have increased shipping charges. So I'm just going to tell you that this is what we can do for this amount of money. But I think really being out there saying, 1, you carry only premium flowers. 2, depending on where you are, the shipping is different. I mean, especially if they're calling from California and have the flower market available to them. Just say, we're here in the Midwest, and those flowers have come on a refrigerated truck a long way, and that does increase the prices that we pay for them. Right. If they're a director, they're going to know that, and they will understand you being really frank and upfront with them about it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. But if they're a data analyst and they're not a nice one, maybe you need to send them somewhere else. It's okay. Maybe you don't want them as a repeat customer. I just had this conversation. I feel like I have this at least once a week, or we get it on our members' Facebook page. One of our members typing in saying, and a lot of times it's about weddings. So like someone wanted a wedding and the mom used to be in the floral industry. So she was directing, but she wasn't like a nice director. And then, all she did was pick apart stuff at the cost. Well, I know cost, but she doesn't, because she's been out of the industry for 10 years. So she doesn't know what it is, especially the COVID costs.
Right.
So at some point, you don't want to lose customers, but you also don't want to lose your sanity. So I think you just have to trust your intuition with that one. And maybe if they're not going to come around, if you say what Vonda said and they don't come around, say maybe try the shop 3 doors down, because I don't want to do it. I can't help you.
Yeah, don't give your services away. I mean, that's
right.
You have a price that needs to be for you to be profitable. And this, it's not that family and friends discount that you're offering, right?
Right.
You're in business, and
that's so important.
Great question.
Our friend Melanie again has another great question. What are your thoughts on texting photos to help customers decide?
I love it. I know a lot of people don't, so I don't want to get emails at me. It's like, I don't have time to do that, but I know, first of all, from a customer, because I do order a lot of flowers, I love it. And it also makes me feel like, oh, my friend, they're texting me. We're friends now. Again, getting that close knit relationship. The other thing I look at it as a marketing thing, if they're going to send you their number, get them on a text email campaign or something. You got their cell number. One of the Flower Click members, they are in Dallas and they're big into this and they swear by it as far as they've had less customer issues because then if they like didn't like what they're getting, like I sent you the picture, you saw everything. Okay. And so they've had less unsatisfied customers by it.
I get a little conflicted on that one because a lot of times when you're just taking a shot of it on the design table or in the cooler, it's not great. So just make sure that when you're taking that picture, it's something that's good and representative of what they're going to actually get. That one is a fine line. And like Lori said, it's a love or hate. If they're asking for a picture, I think you should send it because they wouldn't have asked otherwise. Say, you know what, I can pick out these two that I think will work for you and let me send you a picture and you decide. But again, if you ask the right questions first, then you're going to get it narrowed down. So you won't have to send too many pictures. I mean,
yeah, no, you're right. And I know Ellie Lefevre, she's here watching us, but she would say, make sure you have a specific place in your shop that is well lit. Just got to be like a little box, but really well lit that you can take the photos. And the problem, I think what Vonda is talking about is I've seen a lot that when they don't look like they're to scale because of the angle. And so you might take it and let's say it's only this tall, but the angle made it look like this tall and they get it and it's short. So you do have to make sure it is a good picture.
And maybe in that case, you even need to put the dimensions. So just so you know, this is actually 12 inches wide, 18
good idea,
or whatever, because the picture sometimes doesn't show the scale. Great point.
Great.
Hope that helped. Didn't you?
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and it's also good that you have kind of conflicting ideas. So what might work for some might not work for another, which is also really part of it. So I'm gonna just leave it to you ladies to close out, but I did want to thank you so much to you both. This program will be available on our YouTube channel. So if you have employees that weren't able to be on today, or you want to just watch it again and point out certain things, then please do go onto our YouTube channel. It's Teleflora Design Education. You ladies are a class act, and I thank you so much. And obviously, you've done so much hard work to bring this really great information, and it's a lot of information coming in a really short space of time. So, like my head is going to explode. But, we will be sending out a survey after this. So, if you wouldn't mind, those of you who are listening and watching, if you wouldn't mind answering that survey, it will really help us to bring you kind of up to the minute, timely programs in the future. So with that said, over to you, Lori and Vonda. Thank you.
Thank you, Lottie.
Thank you.
It was just great to be on and be able to share that information. And it's so important at this time of year, as you know, to get your shop totally ready for the holidays. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Then we have a long month of Christmas getting things ready. And I just wanted to do just a quick about Flower Click. Flower Click empowers you with the tools and services to simplify and elevate your business. Where we have a program called One Click, where we have images that we supplement what you have on for Teleflora, and we have a whole system that makes a difference in what you're selling and how you're selling it. We know that the owner's pain point, many of you on here, I'm struggling to find those flowers that match what I have on my website. Yes, that is so true, and especially now. And we have a solution for that. We have membership bundles that are match what you have on your website. This one, I'm having a hard time finding a designer. You can use the bundles, and it really makes the arrangements go so much quicker. I mean, as you can imagine, if you have the flowers at your fingertip, you can design 4 to 5, maybe even more times faster. Productivity is through the roof. I don't want to deal with my website. I know it's important. We have a white glove service that we actually take care of things for you. You have a concierge who can get things done for you. And about designer, we have something called Flower Prep School. And this is where we actually took Lori. Lori, have you ever designed before?
No, I have not, Vonda.
So we took her through actually from the beginning to walking in a flower shop, what she would need to know, and really getting her to pre-green and then make designs from a 3-rose vase to a dozen rows, a cube, copying arrangement. So this really takes you through that. It's 55 video lessons and tutorials, 9 different modules. And then we have the support group each month with that mastermind community and mentor office hours. So that was just kind of it in a nutshell. If you would like any more information, we'd love to be able to tell you about it a little bit more, and just send an email to Lori at flowerclick.com, or you can send it to Vonda at flowerclick.com. Either way, anything I missed, Lori? That was pretty fast.
No,
but
I think we're good. I think we're good, and we made it right at an hour. Perfect.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your Sunday afternoon, evening with us. Thank you, Lori. Again, thank you, Vonda. You guys are amazing. Class act. We will see you soon.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.